Capricorn, this is your September 2025 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, it's your reading. This is Romy. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel. We're opening up for you this month with the energy of the Fool. I really think that you're going to be shown what you need to do and how you need to do it through the course of September. Of course, we're into eclipse energy, and the way that things are being stirred up is actually going to be illuminating opportunities, and in many ways like opening doors. Like through the cracks you're starting to see things you've never seen before, and there's going to be like a lot of wow moments. Even though you're surprised, I don't think you're necessarily shocked. You know, you might be seeing things for the first time, but almost have that deeper knowing that, you know, you were going to end up here, or that this was something that was likely to occur and come online in your world. Now, from the first of the month, Saturn's shifting sign from Aries and tracking back into Pisces through its retrograde energy. And you know, as your ruling planet, you understand, you know, when we're pouring back over something, you know, the lessons that we've learned, and, you know, really, I suppose in some ways being tested to the degree that we've integrated something. You're almost having that internal dialogue with yourself to say, well, you know, have I kind of held those promises? You know, have I managed to maintain the energy of that promise, that intention, you know, through the experiences that I had over the last couple of years? What did it really show me about myself? So in kind of some deep reflective mode early on in the month. Now, Mercury shifts into Virgo on the 2nd. And, you know, through the course of this month, in spite of the eclipse energies shifting and moving things, that Fool tells me that, you know, you're moving in a very clear momentum towards something. It's definitely asking something of you. You know, there's a bravery that you're having to maybe dig a little bit deeper to find through the month of September. But remember, Mercury and Virgo, you know, we're communicating through, you know, acts of service almost. Like, don't just tell them, but show them. And it's definitely a transit that asks our words to match our actions. And, you know, I think that you're actually prepared to do that. There's such a breakthrough. I'm kind of in awe in terms of how this, you know, comes about for you. You know, you're coming to such a new conclusion, especially about your spiritual values. You know, you're in 9th house energy. So 9 of Cups is coming in here, and I think you're aware of the thing that you've been craving, what you've been longing for, what you have felt just hasn't materialized and hadn't shown up. Maybe you got a taster of it. Maybe it was here and then it went before you even had time to kind of fully immerse yourself in the experience of it. Something is coming back around, okay? But I think that this time, maybe there's even more clarity in you. And part of this, I'm feeling like there's a relationship that's really teaching you something about yourself right now, Capricorn. Maybe it's somebody that you know, maybe it's somebody new that's entered your world, but whatever it is that's going on between the two of you, it's really making you question things in yourself. Not in a bad way, it's just bringing to light some things that are important for you to see, to be able to validate. And, you know, really, I think in many ways to remind you of the gifts that you have, the power that you have actually. Now, I do want to call out the 4th. It's a little tricky. Mars is squaring Jupiter, and sometimes the actions that we take can sort of be amplified, so the consequences can be a bit bigger. And it's just before Uranus is going retrograde in Gemini. So be a little bit mindful about what you're saying or what you're doing in that first week of September. That said, I think that Uranus going retrograde is a really beautiful opportunity to just maybe get a little bit of a breather. You know, since it's shifted into the sign, the way that you've been receiving and processing information has been at kind of warp speed and maybe a little bit overwhelming. And so there's something now just about returning to a pace and a rhythm that just allows you to sort of, you know, really think through what's changed for me. What does this mean for me? And I think one of the realizations is that, you know, the more unpredictable life becomes, the more sometimes we crave certainty. And so I think, you know, especially around that first week, you know, you're looking toward things that feel more sure, more secure, more certain for you. But here's the thing, right, Capricorn? We know that really what this time is teaching us, what this season is showing us, is that we have to learn how to adapt in this unpredictable landscape, because it isn't going to change. It's only continuing to speed up and to transform in ways that, you know, feel at times incredibly uncomfortable just because of the nature of how it's happening or how quickly. So part of what is going on, I think, through this eclipse season for you is around this sort of forging new tools for yourself, you know, and you need space in order to do that, right? You need space to be able to think through what is it going to take for me to be able to operate and to thrive and to kind of stay as centered as possible while things continue to feel as unpredictable as they are. Because the more certainty that you crave, I feel like the more stressed out you're going to make yourself at times, okay? Three of Cups is coming in here, and there's something actually really lovely about how, like I said at the beginning, you know, you're going to be shown what you need and how you need to do it. Now, we're coming into the lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 7th. We know that there's going to be an intensity to the emotional release that's being brought about, and some revelations that will come to the surface in regards to that as well. But I think there's some sort of reset that comes about for you through that energy, actually. And it may well be connected into to friendships, or to, you know, sort of a community in some form, like a team, like people that you're around that maybe feel like soul family. But there's something along that sort of lines of just releasing the illusion of something, really understanding and knowing, and kind of being able to see the truth and the heart of something, and being able to have honest conversations that really help to open up your heart space in a way so that you feel a little bit more seen and heard and understood. You may have felt a really strong restlessness. Maybe it's felt like an eternal restlessness for you. And I think there's also a realization in September that maybe that restlessness is teaching you that you don't need more. You don't need to keep trying to find something different to resolve that. But actually, maybe it's about needing less. Because I definitely see, like, through the course of Virgo season as well, like, you're putting things in order and stripping back and simplifying and kind of getting down to the sort of, you know, what is fueling this? What is the foundation of this? And if it feels off, making adjustments and changes that actually are going to be so incredibly supportive to you feeling much freer, much freer. And that comes back into sort of being able to almost find a new type of balance in your life. Because if the balance has been wildly off in one or more areas, there's something again about the nature of this season that is indicating, showcasing, and providing opportunities for you to make those changes. Now, the 13th is going to be a really beautiful day. Sun and Mercury come together, and, you know, it's enabling you to express yourself and sort of have that that moment, actually, where perhaps we also need to go back in order to move forward. So maybe you're having a conversation, or there's a meeting that's taking place, but at that meeting you're talking about something that happened, something that went on, or a conversation that was already had. And the beauty is that it then feels like at that moment you get to sort of get the breakthrough and resolve something, particularly if you know, it had left you feeling with a challenge or a problem to be able to digest or to process something, okay? So this is almost like a second chance, but it comes in with a sort of blinding clarity and a much more positive outlook at what's possible, or, you know, really understanding what it truly meant and what it could mean moving forward, okay? So keep that date in your mind. Toward the 19th, Venus shifts sign into Virgo, and our love language again becomes acts of service. So don't necessarily expect that everyone's going to put their heart on the line, but they're going to show up in ways that feel actually, maybe as an earth sign, like yourself, a little bit more meaningful to you. They're just like, well, actually, this is exactly what I needed in this moment, you know? I didn't just need lip service. I actually needed somebody to show up and take action to demonstrate the fact that they've got my back, or that they're there for me, or that they believe in me, you know, whatever that feel or looks like. You know, I think there's also a desire to be quite devoted to something. You know, you understand the value. There's something about this reminder of the power that you have and what you're good at. Maybe you momentarily forgot. Maybe life has got in the way and you've not been able to practice. But as you return to something, which I see you doing, it almost just like reignites the passion that you've got for yourself. So those practices, those modalities, you know, the things that you love to do that people remark, gosh, you're so good at that, or wow, like, can you help me with this because you're the person that I want to go to? Then, you know, this is coming back online in a way that just kind of feels fresh and different, but also really familiar in all of the right ways, okay? 21st, of course, we're going to see the solar eclipse, new moon in Virgo, fated 29 degrees. Observe, don't absorb, Capricorn. That is what I'm getting coming through for you, okay? We don't want to necessarily manifest at these eclipse energies, but we can absolutely see the energy that's coming up, and we can work to transmute, to alchemize, to clear things. So working with a sacred violet flame can be super powerful through an eclipse energy. You've got the Three of Fire. These threes actually feel incredibly generative. This is why I'm saying that as an eclipse season for you, it actually feels quite powerful. It feels like it can really illuminate and sort of provide opportunities that are setting you free from something, actually, in a significant way. Now, you know, at that new moon, it's almost just like, again, something that's meant for you, something that's destined for you is shown to you. If you haven't followed it, if you haven't been listening to your own intuitive call, if you haven't sort of paid attention, then it's going to feel like almost like a little bit of a slap in the face. It's kind of like, right, come on, like, what are you waiting for? Like, what's going on here? So there's maybe a little bit of an urgency and a push that comes in around that time. And again, just digging deeper and finding the courage, the bravery, the resolve to be able to really embrace that energy. And it's like, if we haven't taken the steps, then maybe the conditions are almost created that leave us no choice, you know? So it's almost like something is removed and then all of a sudden we have to go forth. You know, we have to find a way to move forward. So yes, it could feel a bit uncomfortable, but at the same time, I just have this sense of you sort of rising through the energy of it in a really powerful way. We're then going to see on the 22nd, right after that eclipse, of course, equinox coming through into Libra season. And that seasonal alignment is so beneficial for you. You really make peace with something. Maybe something that you never thought you were going to be able to, but I think the eclipses have sort of challenged you or moved things in such a way that you're kind of like, well, there's just no point in not allowing this or in hanging on to this, or, you know, so there's definitely a sense of maybe a little bit being coerced, but then actually agreeing and embracing something. Now, Mars also moves into Scorpio on the 22nd, and you can get super intentional and laser focus here. The strategies and the plans that come about, like as a sort of catalytic energy from that eclipse and then rebalanced from equinox, are so powerful. So pay attention to what is on your mind, in your heart, and in your kind of sphere of influence, because there's something sort of committed and devoted to with Mars and Scorpio that gets absolutely like almost like relentless in its quest, okay, to discover the answer or to follow through. There's a very strong follow through energy coming in for you. Now, the 24th, we will see Mars and Pluto having a little bit of a tense exchange, which means that there could be somewhat of a power struggle, perhaps because all of the realizations and what's come through for you around the 22nd, you know, is then not necessarily being received by others, or, you know, you're going to have to just overcome some hurdles in order to continue to move forward. But you're going to get some strong perspective with regards to something. Remember what I said, observe, don't absorb, okay? You're absolutely coming to a clear new conclusion with regards to something. And I'm telling you that there's some relationship that is absolutely like intrinsic in terms of like how things are shifting or changing in the month of September for you, okay? Remember, 10th house is illuminated through Libra season. So there's that focus around your work, your career, your legacy, how you want to show up in the world. That's where these gifts are coming back online or back into your awareness to really be harnessed and used and maybe dusted off and sort of improved or reinvested in some way, shape or form. Okay, and all of this is helping you to navigate ever increasing unpredictability with your own sense of inner centeredness and really summoning your inner flame to say, well, okay, I'm never going to get complete certainty from these external conditions or people. So where does that leave me? You know, how am I going to choose now to show up and to be in this moment? Now, if you're new to the channel, the last 3 cards we're going to look at in the extended reading, you can find the link in the comment and description box underneath. We'll talk for another 25 minutes or so. We'll look at a relationship and a personal question. Your investment really helps me to keep going with the channel, so thank you so much. Really appreciate you. We're just going to begin with the energy of the Fool. What is coming through? 7 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands. If you're after a personal reading, check out my website, romywiser.com. You'll find ways to work with me. You'll also find all of my sacred titles, my journal and book and deck, my reports and membership. You'll also find links to my new blog where I'm sharing my journey of moving my family over to the island, and the new healing retreat that's coming online, in-person healing retreat in October 2026. So please come join me, say hello. Okay, you got some strong majors coming through there. All the decks are listed below, Capricorn, yeah. All right, let's have a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle. What are we bringing through for Capricorn in September? Spirals of Love and Grief. We've got Eclipse Revelations, not a surprise. We've got Spirit Crane, Dance with the Divine. Queen of Water coming through. Sacred Soul Union and Golden Ribbons of Light. Okay. And I'm just going to pull an astrology card for Capricorn for the month of September. Got the energy of the cave. Retreat, time out, self-care, slow down. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Please come on to the extended. We'll carry this conversation on, and I'm going to see you again next time.